I hear this a lot with runners. I get my best ideas when I'm out running. I'm able to solve problems when I'm out running. I'm able to creatively think much better when I'm out running. And it's brilliant. But it's a myth, and it's a myth in a good way, meaning that you can still pursue that. You can still get your great ideas, your creative thinking, your problem solving, creating solutions. You can still get that. But the reason you're getting that is, and if you think about it, it's true, is a lot of people also say they get the best ideas when they're in the shower. First thing in the morning, it's when I'm kind of in my most clear thinking, and that's when I'm showering, and then I'll get a great idea or solve a problem or something like that. The reason it is this. You're connected to so much technology all the time. You're either always on your phone, always at your laptop, always at your PC, always in front of the TV. Other distractions, positive and negative, whether you're learning, informative, whether it's entertainment, whatever it is, you constantly, and with people, you're constantly a product of a conversation or a product of what you're consuming. The sad thing is, and it is quite sad when you think about it, the sad thing is that when you're in the shower and you think that those are the only times that you get really good ideas, it's because that 10, 15 minutes when you're in the shower, maybe 5 minutes, that's the only time when you get alone. Whether it's away from your children, away from your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, whatever it is, away from your work colleagues, that's the only time when you get alone. And I'll tell you something that's brilliant on running, hiking, cycling. This is a power. It's a superpower for you if you want it. The times when I've had the biggest breakthrough in my life, it's two main times. Like cycle touring in Asia, cycle touring for 12 months, every day, being on the bike, cycling as long as I possibly could. Bangkok to Singapore in 10 days, 2,200 kilometers, the amount that I need to do, the suffering, like literally breaking the skin in between my leg and having to sort of put baby oil or baby lotion on that in order for it to stop hurting. But being in my own head and in my own thoughts for months at a time, that was incredible for self-development and growth. The other time is 2013, and this was another breakthrough I had in running. But in 2013, I went to the Himalayas, and when you land in the Himalayas, they ask you, do you want a 30-day visa or a 100-day visa? And I just thought, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, so I'll take a 100-day visa. It makes sense. Wasn't a big difference in price. And so I stayed for 96 days or something like that. And I just figured out, after being 3-4 days in Kathmandu, that the best thing for me to do was to get on a bus. And I'd suggest taking a flight if you can, but get on a bus and go from Kathmandu to Pokhara. Pokhara is a beautiful village on a lake, just extremely picturesque, with all the Annapurnas in the background and all the like Fishtail Mountain and stuff like that, and so great for running, so great for hiking. And I just rented a house there on top of a hotel, this small house, and I'll try to find a picture if I can, and the view, which is amazing. And I just went into the Annapurnas all the time. I'd just be gone. I told the guys who were looking after my house, it's locked, I'm coming back, definitely coming back, all my stuff's there. Just going into the Annapurnas on a permit, $40 permit. I'd just be walking, whether it was 10 days, 20 days, one time 2 months. And when you're alone for that amount of time, a few things happen. You start to become really, really strong mentally, because you realize that you don't, whether your personality is extroverted, introverted, it doesn't matter. You start to be comfortable on your own. When you need to be around people all the time for their energy, that means that you need certain situation, and it limits you in a way that you cannot just pick up and go to another country if you want to. You can't do that because you won't know enough people, and you'll become scared, you'll quickly retreat because you won't have access to those communications that you need, especially if it's in a different language. When you have the power to be alone and be comfortable in your own thoughts, you also have the time to think what you really want in life. And if that's a constant analysis, constant thinking of, what do I want in this life? What am I all about? Am I on the right path? Should I be on a different path? What about if I parked this idea right now and went for this? Would that be such a big thing? The clarity of thought increases. So you're super, super clear on what you want and what you want out of life. But then when you're chasing goals, and it's always a long pursuit, if you're right now, you're fresh out of university and you want to be a millionaire, there's a path that you could take. Without a doubt, you can get there in 20 years. So you can get there in 15 years. If you pursue the right career, you save everything, you're frugal, you can do it really, really quick. If you have the ability to be powerful in your own thoughts and think of how you can best get there, it's going to happen way quicker. It's going to happen 5 to 10 years because of the way that you think about situations, the way that you think about finances, where you go to ask and you listen to advice, financial advice, and the right places. You get a stronger intuition because you're tapping into your mind, you're tapping into your thinking much more. And so everything becomes easier because anything worth having is going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of thinking. And if your thinking is supercharged, and if you know that you have the power to think long term and think in a powerful way for a sustained period of time, then you can get to wherever it is you want to get to. Running is the perfect example for me. When I started running and restarted running, I ran in high school and then I started running again in 2010. All of a sudden I knew that this was the path. And I knew from cycle touring in Asia, I was addicted to endurance. I loved getting on the bike and just seeing how far I could get in one day. I loved being in my own thoughts and understanding how powerful that was. So when I started running, although I couldn't even run 400 meters on my first run, I knew in my heart of hearts that this was the right path for me. And I knew to a point when I walked back from that 400 meter run that had gone wrong. I went out for an hour run, came back 5 minutes later and said, I'm going to be a professional runner. Because I was so certain this is not kind of a strike of lightning or a message from God or anything like that. This is you understanding yourself really well, being super self-aware, and that is insanely useful in life. Useful is a massive understatement for that. But if you can be self-aware, understand your strengths and weaknesses, what you need to improve to get to where you're going, it's a superpower. And what I knew is that progress curve will be super steep in the beginning, and then it's going to flatten off. So the thinking was, it's going to be super steep, and that's going to get you into the positive flywheel, and you're going to be really interested, and you're going to be doing little things, and you're going to see positive returns, and you're going to get to the 5K, 10K, etc. And then you find your niche. And my niche was 100K running on the road, and I wanted to be world champion, and I wanted to break the world record, and along the way break the British record and become British champion. Didn't do everything, but it made me a professional runner. It made me do what I loved for 10 years as a professional athlete. And that is exactly what I wanted to be when I was a kid. If anybody asked me what I wanted to be, I wanted to be a footballer, pro footballer. I wasn't good enough. My dad let me know, but I was good enough to be a runner, and that was always my second answer. If I can't be a professional footballer, I'd be a professional runner. And to get to do that for 10 years wouldn't have happened if I wasn't comfortable enough in my own thoughts, not just to know which path I'm going at and how strong I'm going to go there, but also the old life I'm leaving behind. It's not your path. So working to make as much money as I possibly could in my 20s to have the car, the apartment, go to fancy places, the watch, the shoes, the clothes, all the things that come in thinking, what is success to me as a young man living in Manchester? Success is what I can see. And it's what people have is what I can see. Not their lives, not an insight into their lives, but what they have. And so I wanted what they had in order for me to appear successful. That's the wrong path. It was the wrong path for me, and so this felt everything aligned and feels completely natural. When you have that power and that affirmation, you can shock yourself at the results. Good luck, and if you've got anything from this, please like, subscribe, comment, and if you've been on something similar yourself, or you're about to embark on something and you're unsure, let me know in the comments below, because I think it's probably the most interesting thing we can all talk about.